When the man returned to the classroom, he discovered that someone had thrown his desk out the window. Meanwhile, the girls sitting nearby were all trying to get him to sit with them, but he politely declined. Then, he opened the window and sat gracefully on the windowsill. This man's name is Sakamoto. He's famously elegant, the most refined student in the entire school. No matter how bad the situation gets, Sakamoto always handles everything effortlessly. Because of that, every girl in class is head over heels for him. But this made the school bully extremely jealous. He didn't want Sakamoto getting more attention than he did. So, when Sakamoto sat down, the bully quietly pulled his chair away. But to his surprise, Sakamoto still managed to sit perfectly, without even needing a chair. Still not giving up, the bully tried another trick. He ripped off the under maintenance sign from a broken faucet, then stood nearby, waiting for Sakamoto to embarrass himself. But once again, Sakamoto did the unexpected. He used the broken faucet to wash his hair. The graceful way he did it made all the girls scream with excitement. Later, just as the teacher was about to start the lesson, a giant wasp suddenly flew into the classroom. The girls screamed and fled, accidentally locking the boys inside. The boys stood frozen, terrified, watching the wasp buzz closer and closer. In this village, everyone wears two faces. A woman pretends to be sweeping the ground, but her eyes are fixed on the apples in the tree. When no one is watching, she secretly picks one. The priest comes to the church every day to pray, but when no one's around, he sneaks a drink. He pretends to visit the prisoner, but in reality, he spits in the prisoner's face. Before leaving, he even fakes a blessing in God's name. As for the prisoner who isn't locked up, he's been secretly digging a tunnel all along. But everything is seen by the old man upstairs, yet the old man tells no one. Instead, he quietly opens his treasure and indulges himself. However, the golden glow from the old man's room catches the attention of the village bully. One day, the bully sneaks into the old man's home, throws him from the upper floor, and steals all his treasure. Later, a man with glasses discovers the dead old man. He climbs up to investigate, but the villagers mistake him for the killer. They capture him and throw him into jail. Just as they're about to execute him, he manages to escape. The real prisoner quickly tells the villagers about the escape. Everyone rushes to catch the man with glasses, but he's already climbed to the rooftop. That night, the bully is admiring the old man's treasure when he spots someone on the roof. Looking out, he sees the man with glasses. The bully climbs up after him, but is pushed off the roof. When the villagers find the bully again, only his bones remain. This school only had 2 human students. It turned out to be a school where humans and beasts coexisted. As one of the rarest species, the boy often got beaten up for no reason at all. Suddenly, a pineapple smacked him right in the face. Fed up, he grabbed it and hurled it back with all his strength. It ended up hitting a wolf girl, who briefly blacked out from the impact. Using her sharp sense of smell, she quickly locked onto the boy's scent, determined to get revenge. But before she could catch him, she slammed right into a fish tank. Then, out of nowhere, a T-Rex appeared. With a single thunderous roar, the entire crowd fell silent. It turned out the T-Rex was their dean of discipline. At lunch, the boy went to the cafeteria, only to be stunned by the bizarre menu. So he asked the gorilla chef to grill him some meat. Just as he sat down, the wolf girl showed up again. Thinking he was about to steal her food, she entered full food guarding mode. But instead of fighting, the boy offered her the grilled meat. Touched by the gesture, she considered inviting him to join her pack. However, the boy threw a bone at her and drove her off like a dog. Just then, a human girl appeared. She took out her lunchbox and shared it with the boy. They were happily chatting away. When the wolf girl returned again, the human girl panicked and ran off. Watching her go, the boy firmly told the angry wolf girl to leave. But the wolf girl, hurt and teary-eyed, told him a story. When she was little, she had been attacked by a bear pack, and it was a human boy who had stepped in to protect her. It was the first time anyone had ever been kind to her. That night, the boy lay in bed, remembering the time he had saved a female dog when he was a child. This group of meerkats was guarding an apple. Just then, a vulture swooped in and snatched the apple away. As the vulture was about to fly off, the meerkats actually started chasing after it, mocking them. The vulture didn't expect the meerkats to work together, and they managed to grab hold of the apple. Soon, more meerkats leapt onto the vulture. With a burst of effort, the vulture took off with the meerkats clinging on. Then, with a sudden shake, it flung them all into the air. But the apple ended up right back in the meerkats' paws. The vulture, furious, dived down to snatch the apple again, but the meerkats tossed it to one another, one even falling to the ground during the pass. Seeing this, the others quickly began passing the apple around. Eventually, the apple started to fall. The vulture folded its wings and dove straight at it. Just as it grabbed the apple, a meerkat jumped onto its back. Then more meerkats appeared, piling onto the vulture. The vulture hit the brakes mid-air, sending all the meerkats flying. Thinking it had finally won, the vulture let its guard down, but fate wasn't on its side. The apple ended up back in the meerkat's hands. A group of ants was carrying food, when one suddenly froze in place. Turned out, an anteater was about to suck it into its mouth. At the critical moment, the the ant captain blew his horn. Under his command, the ants formed a giant soccer ball. The anteater tried to feast, but ended up suffocating on the mass of ants. Soon after, a seabird dove toward a group of crabs on the ground, but the crabs didn't panic at all. They quickly repositioned to face the oncoming bird. Suddenly, they all raised their claws at once. The next second, the seabird's feathers were completely plucked clean. As the crabs proudly marched away, one tiny crab snipped off the bird's last feather. The girl had made a disturbing discovery. The prince who once sold off the saint had fallen beyond redemption. Instead of using the kingdom's funds to fight the growing threat of monsters, he planned to build a massive golden statue of himself, determined to stop him. The girl confronted him, but was interrupted by the sudden arrival of the king. She was shocked. Ever since falling ill, the king had rarely appeared in public. This time, he had rushed over after hearing rumors that monsters were multiplying around the kingdom's borders. Before the girl could speak, the prince quickly reassured the king, claiming there was no real threat. These monsters, he said, pose no danger to the kingdom. The king erupted in fury. He couldn't believe his heir was so blind and short-sighted. His anger triggered a violent coughing fit, and in that moment, the girl realized the king hadn't recovered at all. The saint had left behind a cure before she was taken away, but when she asked about it, the servant stammered and claimed the recipe had been lost. Then she saw it, a strange, twisted smile flicker across the prince's face. Her heart sank. The loss of the cure might not have been an accident after all. To make the prince face the monster threat seriously, the girl pretended to suggest they conduct a joint investigation. Surprisingly, the prince agreed. But the next day, when they arrived at a village recently attacked by monsters, he showed no concern for the terrified villagers. During the subsequent monster hunt, he kept making excuses to retreat, and when they were finally surrounded, the prince's first reaction was to shove the girl toward the monsters, hoping she'd hold them off. In the end, she defeated every last one of the creatures, but she was left sickened, not by the monsters, but by the prince.